Tonight, I don't know where you're at on this journey. And I don't know what life looks like for you right now. But I know this, if you're ever gonna be who God's called you to be, it's gonna require confidence. And if you've lost it, you gotta find it. And if you've misplaced it, you gotta get it back.
You're not the nut you used to be, but you're not the tree you're gonna be. But until you learn how to appreciate where you are in the process, you won't get the power to evolve to your ultimate destiny.
When you do discover a cause worth dying for, and you do realize it's worth living for, how many know it's worth giving for, it's worth working for, it's worth sacrificing for? But what I've learned is that if you don't have confidence, you'll never walk out your cause.
You're so busy starving the sapling trying to get to the tree that you cancel out the potential of being a tree because you don't feed where you are. You're in love with tomorrow, but you're neglecting today. Until you are faithful over the few, you cannot be ruler over the many. So you need to take your eye off of the tree and water what you got now.
You're gonna get what you focus on. What you focus on gets larger and larger in your life. It grows. It's like if you look at what's wrong with your life, you can actually get to the point where you just hate your life.
There's a lot of destruction going on in the world right now. There's a lot of loss happening in the world right now. And I've actually been through a lot of chaos, and I've been through a lot of destruction. And one thing that I've learned is I learned that I had to keep my emotions in check. And that's the same thing I tell other people when they're going through trying times. And that does not mean that you're not going to have emotions. But by keeping your emotions in check, I mean don't make decisions based on your emotions. They're going to lead to a bad place. Don't let that happen. Instead, if you feel yourself getting emotional, take a step back. Detach. Look around. Think about the long-term implications of the decisions that you're making, and make your decisions based on logic and based on reason and based on long-term outcomes.
Go ahead and work on your level. Go ahead and master where you are. And after a while, without you even trying to do it, where you started will turn into where you're going. That's what destiny is pulling you into. From the rehearsal to the recital, once you have mastered it, whether the recital is business, marriage, accounting firms, real estate development, family, whatever your recital is, once you have maximized it, you get to sit with the masters.
So the key to your life is finding a vision that imposes discipline on you. In essence, vision is the source of discipline. Discipline is the root of leadership. It actually is the very nature that attracts people to you. A disciplined person naturally begins to attract people because people admire discipline in other people. That's why we go to see athletes perform. We really admire the discipline that they put themselves through. If you do the same thing as a person, people will then begin to believe what you say. Your very life of discipline creates trust. People trust a person who they perceive to be disciplined.
Ask yourself truthfully, your big goals and dreams, are you really clear on what they are? Because if you don't have that, we can't even get started. You know how mandatory it is to be clear and specific for what you want, right? Can you get laser obsessively focused almost to its exclusivity, almost, but for an extended period of time?
That if you want it, you gotta go get it. Some of y'all got this concept of what you want. You know, some of y'all are motivated by broke. just wanting to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. Other folks are motivated by materialistic things. It's a very simple concept. If you want it, you gotta go get it.
You've got creativeness in you. If you decide to take the initiative to change the current quality of your life, I say to you that you will find that the universe is on your side. Now, will it be turbulent? Yes. Will it be easy? No, no. Will I make a lot of mistakes? Yes. See, a lot of people won't try anything different in life because they don't want to get hurt.
You got to get focused, man. You got to understand that this hard time that you're going through is preparing you for what you ask God for. Every trial and tribulation you go through prepares you for the life God has for you.
What do you think about? What is your dream? You want a larger life, and that you're going to get a breakthrough, that things are going to be better for you, that you're willing to work on you. You're learning how to live life now.
It was my philosophy that changed. The set of the sail of better thinking, correcting the errors of the past and picking up new disciplines for the future. That's all I had to do at the end of the first 6. And my total life changed. The second 6 years was totally different than the first 6 of my working life.
If you're stuck in a story. There's a story you're telling yourself that doesn't serve you anymore. And you have to evaluate what that story is. But what you need to do is you need to alter your associations. You need to do something in a short window of time, no question about it. You definitely need to evaluate what is no longer needed and evaluate the story you're telling yourself.
What's your philosophy of life? What are your beliefs, things that you feel very strongly about? What are some of the things that you have picked up along the way that you've been doing them for so long you think that they're you, that you need to begin to re-examine them and perhaps get them out of your life? See, a lot of things we're doing, we do unconsciously because we picked it up somewhere in life.
If you're weary with smallness and you're tired all the time and you can't focus, what are you going to do with greatness? You're asking for more and you haven't mastered less.
What you do while you are in this world will determine forever where you spend forever.
Everything you ever thought you would not make it through, you got past it. Now, if you're currently going through something right now, guess what? You're going to get past that too. It always works that way. You always do.
Everything that happens to you in your life, whether it's a trauma, whether it's a disease, whether it's somebody treating you in a certain way, there's a lesson in all of it. No limit people understand the lesson in life and therefore celebrate the lessons.
See, a lot of times we allow ourselves to be fed and to be programmed and to being afraid. I mean, you watch the news and read the newspaper, you'd be scared to come out the house. So what kinds of things, what kinds of thoughts are you feeding your consciousness? What kind of things are you putting in your mind that will enable you to either move forward or to justify why you're staying where you are?
We have many areas to improve on. In every area we need to learn. We are not the greatest. We need to grow. We need to expand. And I'm not talking about numbers. I want to make sure we're really clear about that. I'm not talking about numbers at all. I'm talking about within. Some of you, you need to grow from within. Growing is not the mission. Growing is not the goal. Us being healthy, that's the goal. And it just turns out that healthy things grow.
And my point to you is if you don't have a goal, if you don't have something that keeps you sharp and focused, if you don't have challenges, you won't stay alive. You could drop into a pile of dust pretty quick if you don't have I don't care how old you are. I don't care who you are. You need a dream.
And when you get to that point in your life where you're not cursing the things that come your way and blaming the things that come your way, and particularly blaming it on somebody else. And you hear it all the time. She hurt my feelings. How's that possible? How can anybody hurt your feelings? Your feelings come from your thoughts. No one can hurt your feelings without your consent. No one can embarrass you without your consent. These are choices that you have that come from the way that you think.
I am going to be curious about myself. I am going to make it my mission every day to wake up and discover a new version of me. I'm going to make it my mission to explore the far corners of myself, just to see what's there, because I want to know what else is in me. You know, you've got to be curious about yourself. And that's the attitude to have if you want to get more out of this life.
I used to try to change everything. You can hang apples on a pear tree. I'm telling you, it won't help. You can put up a sign, this is an apple tree. Sure enough, come the season, pears. Here's what I learned. You cannot change people, but they can change themselves. It's your skills that buy you a future. Money and no skills, and I'm telling you, you're still poor. Money and no courage, you're broke.
You know your strengths. You know your dreams. You know your heart. So why don't you sit down and reflect for a moment and ask yourself, what do I really want to accomplish that I haven't accomplished yet? Get in your area, in your space, and say, I need to challenge me, because here's what I feel and here's what I believe. When you challenge yourself, you're challenging yourself in an area that is close to your heart, and it's who you are.
Accept the challenge, because you can't grow without a challenge. You can't get rich without a challenge. You have to understand the challenge. But that's the key, is to now develop wisdom to overcome the challenge. Don't wish for less challenge, but more wisdom. You can do the most remarkable things no matter what happens. Humans can do the most remarkable things no matter what happens.
Just being aware of the concept will put you light years ahead of 99.9% of the, just awareness of the power of identity. Just now you knowing about the thermostat puts you in the 0.1% of all the people on the spinning earth right now.
There are three kinds of people. There are people who make things happen, people that watch things happen, and people that don't know what happened. That's the majority. Hoping that somebody with mercy and pity will look in their direction. No! Hey, listen here. You've been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. Listen to me. Be willing to learn something. Keep moving in the direction of where you want to go. Continue to fall forward.
One of the things I'm suggesting you look at, what is it that you need to be in the process of doing more of or less of? Like being more direct, saying no without feeling guilty, more focused. 1 year I decided to do one thing well. I looked at all of my talents and I decided the strongest one, my ability as a speaker, that's the one I'm going to focus on. But only when I decided to focus did I begin to reap the rewards of my talent.
As we get older, as persons and as businesses, we have a tendency to want to cling to the old, to be suspicious of anything new and exciting. This is a successful way of doing things. Let's stay with it. Let's hang on to what we've got and ride out a future we can't be sure of. But this attitude, in many ways, can only lead to decline and eventual failure. This is a turning of the back to life, and it's something life won't stand for. To grow, we must let go.
See, when you get to a certain place, when you're willing to risk, you're not willing to risk, you can't grow. And if you can't grow, you can't become your best. And if you can't become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, what else is there? Yet many of you have been working on jobs. That is not you. Why do you do it? Oh, to pay the bills. But you've gotten to a point where that's not enough.
People telling you, hey, you can't do this, that doesn't matter. You have no idea what's possible for you, and because you don't even know what's possible for you, they have no clue what's possible for you. So you've got to keep going and keep pushing. There's some pain involved, but you got to go past the pain, and I'm telling you what's on the other end is more rewarding than anything you can think about right now. All right? So you got to go in there, take that attitude with you. This might be the day. This might be the day.
Well, I want you to think about when you see someone who looks like an overnight success. That's a 20-year overnight success. But self-made billionaire, did it on her terms. But I told you to start with that 80% of wealth building is psychology and 20% is mechanics. How much of what she did was mechanical, was strategic? She's very smart. But most of it was really psychology. If you see that, raise your hand and say, I. See, I looked at my notes again because I take notes every time I'm around somebody, even though I know them well. I was like, once again, what made her successful? 7 years of door-to-door sales. Without that, none of this would happen because she learned to develop the skill of knowing how to get across to someone, how in a short time to make sure you put the benefit in their terms, how to read their body language. All that came from 7 years. Also, the persistence that's required to be in door-to-door sales for 7 years. I was in it for 3.5 years. I completely relate. I used to go and sell music to people. They call people up and say, hey, we're a great new music company in the area. What kind of music do you like? One of the people's going to drop by and give you a free gift. And then I would talk my way in the door and give a 2-hour presentation on why you should sign up for this music club. We had to get so many tapes a month. And I learned how to talk to people that were drunk. I was in rich people's homes. I was in poor people's homes. I was poor. I had to learn how to discipline and push myself through at 2 in the morning. All of that background made it possible for her to do this. Now, you don't have to go through all that background, but you need skill. And that skill of understanding human beings. What else? How about her dad? Her dad teaching her every day, what have you failed at, and celebrating it. Teaching her to redefine failure. That's one of the biggest reasons people fail. Yesterday, during our Zoom call, several people brought up their fear of failure or the issues, how to deal with it. Because it's critical, because failure is learning. If you learn, it's not a failure. And her dad taught her that every single day till she was willing to just try anything. She wasn't afraid anymore, not because she wasn't afraid, but because she'd done it so many times. Remember I said, I don't care how you feel. Do it, do it, do it, do it, and suddenly you'll feel good. Don't wait to feel good before you do it, or you'll never begin. What else did she have? Incredible sense of urgency. Did you get that? Right? Death. Death made her remember, hey, I'm not going to be here forever. We get one shot. People forget that. But that sense of urgency made her drive. Then how did she find her way? Because many of you have a vehicle. How many already have a financial vehicle, meaning you own your own business or are beginning one? Let me see your hands percentage-wise. Huge percentage. How many of you don't yet have a vehicle, meaning you're just all you have currently is a job or a career. You don't have a vehicle of your own economy. Okay? So how did she find that vehicle? She asked. So my teacher, Jim Rohn, used to say, ask and you shall what? Receive. It's a pretty good formula, right? It's in the good book. But what I learned being around Jim Rohn was you can't just ask, like, give me $1 million. You got to ask specifically. You say, give me more money, here's $1, you're out of here. So ask specifically, jot it down. If you're going to ask for something, you got to ask specifically. But you also, secondly, have to give something first. You have to add value to them first.
Some of you are in the darkest of darkest valleys. I don't know what you're going through, but I know what you need. Hope. And I want you to know that beautiful things can come from your broken pieces when you give your broken pieces a chance.
You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
In the last 90 days, how many books have you read? In the last year, what new skill or knowledge have you acquired? What kind of investment have you made in you? So I'm saying that as you begin to look at where you want to go, if you want to make it today, and things are changing so fast, you have to literally run to stand still. I'm saying that you've got to make some conscious effort to begin to work to develop you.
Your gift will make room. Now, what is your gift? It's the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. That's your gift. Quit running away from the gift. Your gift will make room for you. Stop trying to be something you ain't gifted at.
How to turn nothing into something. How tangible are ideas and imagination? Ideas that become so
powerful in your mind and your consciousness, they seem real to you even before they become tangible. Imagination that is so strong that you can actually see it. You can actually see it. If somebody cannot see it when it is not here, then it will never be here.
There's joy in the journey. I want to be a billionaire. Where I'm at right now, oh, please understand I'm cool. But if I could get $1 billion, though, if you destroy the dream, the Bible says a man without a dream or vision shall perish. It never mentions if you don't have an education.
Today, for an entrepreneur to think big, piece of cake today. So whatever the big thinking idea is that I have, I need confidence to be thinking bigger. And confidence happens with smaller victories. A big victory is a combination of many, many small victories that didn't stop after another one. You have one victory, you're going to go get another one, and another one, and another one. All of a sudden, you have a massive victory.
The bottom line is, no one's coming. No one. No one's coming to push you. No one's coming to tell you to turn the TV off. No one's coming to tell you to get out the door and exercise. Nobody's coming to tell you to apply for that job that you've always dreamt about. Nobody's coming to write the business plan for you. It's up to you. And because you're only ever going to do the things that you feel like doing right now or that feel good right now, unless you understand that you've got to parent yourself, you've got to push yourself.
I'd like to ask you to take a look at any place you've got a limitation and ask yourself, when did I decide to accept that limitation? Think about it. It doesn't matter what's happening, quote unquote, in the marketplace. People that make money find a way to make money no matter what, don't they? I mean,
And the question is, if you died today, what dreams, what ideas, what talents, what books, what music, what leadership, what voice will die with you? Miles Monroe, great orator and speaker, said the wealthiest place on the planet, it's not in the Far East where there's oil in the ground. It's not in South Africa where there are diamond mines. He said the wealthiest place on the planet is the cemetery. Because there you'll find greatness that we've never seen. There you'll find talent and genius and potential never actualized. Perhaps that's why Henry David Thoreau wrote the words, "Oh God, to reach the point of death, only to realize that you've never lived." Maybe that's why some unknown writer wrote the words, "What if you live your whole life only to discover that it was wrong? That it was wrong. That you were chosen to do something else and you didn't do it."
This may be the biggest problem we face as a society. People don't remember that skills have utility. They let you do something. You don't learn to build a house to impress your parents. You learn to build a house so people can live in the house you build. And once people understand that, like, holy shit, you're building this house so somebody can live in it, build a home in it, have a family, be sheltered from storms, like, it's a real thing, man. And so all of that effort and energy went into, I have the chills right now, is so you can create that moment for yourself, for other people. It is something so much more than going to architecture school, which maybe you went to because your parents wanted that and they were architects. And so you do that thing for that and you forget that the whole reason you became an architect was to build houses. And so once people realize, oh, I'm putting all of this time and energy to build these things because they let me do something. What do I want to do? What do I want to give? What do I want to create? When you look at skills from that perspective, it is like, It is being a superhero. It is being a superhero. You're going to collect these abilities. These abilities actually let you do something. The fact that Superman can fly allows him to save people, allows him to do things other people can't do. We all have this opportunity to become capable of the extraordinary, to be able to do things other people can't do. And that feels so good.
If there's one thing to get excited over, that's it. Get excited over your ability to make yourself do the necessary things. What could you make yourself do starting tomorrow that would change it all? No! Tell it. Now, see, that's exciting. On any given day, you can massively change the direction of your life. Murder is a clear example that any one person on any given day can forever alter the course of their life. It just happens to be a negative act. But just as sure as you can commit a negative act, you can also commit a positive act and forever alter your life. Whenever you wish. Now that's exciting. And whatever that act might be that changes your life, the guy finally takes a shotgun to his car and blows out every window, destroys every tire, puts 100 rounds in this shabby old thing. And he says, I have driven this embarrassing thing for the last time. And not only will I never drive it again, nobody else will ever drive it again. And he lets that shuddering thing stand there for a while as a monument to the day he said, today my life changes. Now who can do that? Anybody. When can you do it? Whatever day you pick. Now here's the key to discipline. Start with the little disciplines, get excited over the little disciplines, and get right on those, because those will lead to the big ones. You can't handle the big challenges in life unless you take on the little ones. Make a list of all the things you can do, get right on those, discipline yourself for those, both for the results and for the muscle and for the practice, so that when life hands you some big challenges, you'll be ready, you'll have the muscle. But see, if you don't handle the small ones, you can't take care of the big ones. Okay, here's what else it takes for life change. Self-motivation. Key phrase, self-motivation. I don't know why we call it self-motivation. It's really the only kind there is. You got to motivate yourself. Because I found out you can't change people. They can change themselves, but you can't change them. Lord knows some I've tried. But see, it won't work. People have to change themselves. I learned some of those lessons early. I built a little sales organization way back in those early days. I'm 25. And I had some nice people. I said, I'm going to make these people successful if it kills me. I almost died. Right? I mean, you can't do that. See, I've discovered this. Good people are not trained, they're found. You find good people. You don't make them good, you find them good. Training really is for the purpose of finding good people. You don't need much instruction for a good person. But too much training probably means you got the wrong people.
Some people are born with extraordinary size, strength, speed, and talent, but without determination, that talent never flourishes. Because determination is what turns average men and women into winners.
It should take you years to get out of debt, years to accomplish your dream. In the natural, that's true. But when you come into one of these destiny moments, it's going to happen in a fraction of the time.
It's gotta happen It's got to happen this year. It's got to happen this year. I can't have another year of chaos. I got to get the breakthrough this year. I got to change the culture. I have to change the circumstance. I can't fake the funk another year. I got to see some movement in my life. If I got a witness in the house, show some sign. This is my year to bring about transformative, substance, life-changing change.
If you could look back throughout the years, what you would discover is that mark by mark, you have been maturing. You have been growing. It's just been gradual. It's just been little by little. I know you're not where you want to be yet, but baby, you have come a long way. You're growing gradually. I'm growing gradually. It's little by little. I love the quote by J.R.R. Tolkien. He's the one who wrote The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and he says, little by little, one travels far.
No one is born a world champion, just like no one is born a brain surgeon. The successful do what they must, what they can to be the best, to be number one. For me, it was a 5-mile run at 5 a.m. in the morning. For you, maybe continue to be the leader in payroll and human resource industry. And these may be somewhat of a painful sacrifice, but it is this type of determination that just happens to build tremendous confidence. Confidence in knowing that most likely your competitors are not doing the same sacrifices. Determination gives you that, it gives you that mental edge.
The secret to change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but building the new you. Put all your energy, not fighting the old, but building the new you. What is it that you have to do in order to do that? Number one, self-awareness. See, at the end of the day, all of us are the same. The only thing that separates us are the choices we make, the habits that we embrace. And I realize you've got to sacrifice who you've been in 2020. You got to sacrifice whoever that person was. You got to let it go. You got to sacrifice that and put all of your time and energy on building the new you. And building the new you, in my particular case, is more discipline. In my particular case, monitoring myself and my progress, staying on top of it, watching, am I doing well? Am I moving in the direction where I want to move? To give up the things that will distract me from doing that, to make the sacrifice of some things that I enjoy doing, but I can't afford to do it because it's soaking up time, and time is life. Time is life.
Learn to work with the people who deserve it, not the people who need it. You must be like life itself. Respond to deserve, not to need. It doesn't say if you need, you will have a harvest. It doesn't say if you need a harvest, you'll have a harvest. It's not what it says. It says if you plant, chances are good you'll have a harvest. If you plant, you will reap. Not if you need, you will reap. So we must be like life itself. Respond to the people who deserve it by planting, by taking the first step. Even God himself says, if you move toward me, I'll move toward you. That's the condition. You move toward me, I'll move toward you, says the Almighty. When babies are born, they were not designed just to be carried. Babies were not born to be carried all their life. Someday you've got to try your legs. Someday you've got to try your wings. Someday you've got to try. Even if you fall down, you've got to try, because you can't just crawl around all your life. You can't be carried all your life.
These are chaotic times. These are chaotic times. Unpredictable, uncertain times. These are the kinds of times that all of our establishments and institutions are going through metamorphosis, and we're not sure where they're going.
I like to be the man I never was, that I never became. Well, every time I speak, I see this as such a sacred opportunity And I'm so happy. Sometimes I think I'm dreaming, because when I look back on my life, and this Les Brown that you see was in bondage for so many years, didn't come out till late in my life. I had him under arrest. I was in bondage with fear. I wanted to do what I'm doing. And I thought about things I wanted to accomplish, and I held myself back because I was afraid to fail. I was afraid to make mistakes. I was afraid that I would embarrass myself. I was intimidated by people who had college degrees because I didn't have a college degree. And so I would think about the things I wanted to do, and then I would start thinking about the fact, Les, you can't do that. So that's what I told this guy in me. Les, you can't do that. You don't have a college education. Les, I hear what you're saying, but come on, be logical, be practical. Oh yes, I know people told you have a gift for gab, and you have a nice personality, and you're funny, and you make people feel good, and you make them laugh, but you become a speaker, speak for corporations, train and teach people and motivate people to do something you've never done. You're not rich, you're not successful, you don't have any books, you don't have the resources, you don't know the people, you don't have the contacts. You can't do that, Les Brown. See, my heart said I can do that. And then I made a critical mistake. I asked how. The mind became operative. The mind came up front and said, Les Brown, I heard what your heart said, but I want to ask you, how will you do that? And so I went from my heart to my mind, and I tried to figure it out.
You're watching and you're so frustrated because you're looking around left and right and you're comparing your today to somebody else's, and you're going, but they're growing and they're flourishing. I don't know if that's really the case. I just wonder if every time you check in on them, all you're seeing is the marks on the pantry door. That you weren't there for the gradual growth. You weren't there for the little by little. You're comparing your slow to their fast, and it's leaving you in a place that you are discouraged.
It's not knowing what to do. That's not the battle. It's not actually doing it. That's not the battle. It's the moment in between. It's the hesitation. Hesitation is the enemy. And in war, understanding where the enemy is allows you to defeat him. And this is where the enemy of action, the enemy of commitment, the enemy of change, that's where the enemy lies. It lies in the waiting. And all you have to do to win is overcome that moment, the waiting, the hesitation. All you have to do is go, move, take action. Get out of bed, get your feet on the ground, step into the gym, put down the donut, pick up the kettlebell. Do not hesitate, do not wait. Go forward. Go to war and win every single time.
Don't let the darkness fool you. Don't let the liars fool you. Don't let the haters fool you. Don't let the lack of resources fool you. You have already crossed over into a brand new day. If you're sitting beside somebody that's not hungry, move, because you can't have no dead weight around you right now. You're ready to go to the next level. You got to be ready to move. That's what's wrong with you now. You're carrying dead bodies. But I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I didn't know I would get this old and still be hungry. But don't let the gray hair fool you. It's gray, but I'm still hungry. I'm a boomer with millennial tendencies. Yeah, all the hungry people make some noise.
you have the ability to create and design the kind of life that you want. And in this place where we are right now, things have changed dramatically. And so you have to make a dramatic change in yourself in order to accomplish the things that you want. What does that look like? What is it you have to do? In my case, mine and my battle has been with cancer, 4th stage. That looks like intensifying my efforts in monitoring everything that I eat. It has to be organic. But my state of mind, keeping stress to a minimum. I don't play that. Anything that's unhealthy, anybody that's unhealthy for me, I cut off the relationship. I don't ask them, why did you do that? I cut it off. Why? It's my life. See, we got enough to deal with. When you got the coronavirus that has now mutated into another lethal form and easier to spread, that kind of tension and stress by itself is enough. So you're not given the luxury of accommodating toxic, negative people in your life if you want to live. And you have to put your foot down and say, I don't do drama. Don't come up here with that. I don't do drama. And you don't have to defend that. See, there is no duplicate for life. You only get one. And so you want to live it to the fullest. You want to have special moments. You want to have peace of mind. 47% of Americans can't get a good night's sleep. And I've been one of them. Bobby, you have to work at it.
Fear is telling you, don't try. I'll keep you safe. I'll save you from embarrassment. I'll save you from pain. You have to understand that fear is only loyal to who you used to be. But if I'm going to break this thing down for you, let me break it down like this. I'm going to tell you what you're really afraid of. You're scared of who you have to become in order to start living. Who do you have to become in order to get back into the water, in order to try? Who do you have to become in order to go back to school and try? Who do you have to become in order to want again? I'm asking you, what is it going to take for you to explore your potential in a bigger space? All that potential, all that energy in you is being trapped by fear and being restricted to explore a small space. That kind of pressure causes stress, and when you're stressed, your world shrinks. All of your energy repurposes itself to focus on your safety, on your time, and on whatever else looks like a threat in your environment. That sounds like surviving, not living. You're not a rock, so stop acting so hard and so inflexible about life. Stop using your fear to create rules that limit the scope of what life has to offer. It's easier said than done, I know, particularly when you've accepted fear as a lifestyle. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the sort of person who experiences more of what it's like to be a father? Or do you want to experience more of what the world has to offer? Do you want to start living out that dream you've been holding on to for years? Whoever you've decided to be, that's who your fear is fighting. So fight back. Fight back with a new mindset. Fight back with a new set of routines. Fight back with people who are moving the way you're moving, who are moving where you're moving, and who want more of what you want.
Make a conscious effort to look at and recruit people in your life that you know that have been good to you, that you need to deepen that relationship, that they bring out the best in you, they inspire you, they make you feel good about yourself, y'all have fun together. You want to reach out to those people and schedule some time to see each other virtually each week, where you have individual and collective goals that you're working on. When you upgrade your relationships, when you make it a point to consciously get toxic, negative, energy draining people who have a propensity for creating drama out of your life. And I'm sure you've had the experience when somebody who created a whole lot of
problems for you, and something happened, and when it ended, you say, whoa, I had no idea. Do something that the future you will say, thank you for making that decision. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for taking your life in a new direction. That's what you want your future self to say. This will not be a new year unless you learn something this year that will have a dramatic impact on your life that you did not know last year, that will allow you to take care of yourself, that allow you to control your own personal economy, that allow you to call your own shots, that allow you to have peace of mind.